first of all, a warm welcome to my learned colleagues. Both of them are practicing or till recently practicing journalists who have been covering this topic in great depth. I can't say that that is true of me. I have been only an observer, and now I've also been looking at both media as well as the question of urbanization only from a conceptual point of view. I'm not a practitioner as far as the real media management or writing or is concerned, except for the fact that I happen to be currently DG Doordarshan, etc. So that is the issue. So all my what do you call inspection or all my approach to the total subject, the whole subject would be slightly theoretical. For the practical issues, I'll request my learned colleagues to intervene. The topic, as I mentioned, is the role of information industry, role of information industry and media in urban governance. This can be looked in, I think, in two ways. The first is giving importance to the what do you call the primary or the previous part, the initial part of it, that is information industry and media, and through that prism to look into the media, urban governance, or the other way, straight away look into the urbanization governance issues and then the role of media. I think that would be better one, because the entire context is of urbanization. The Urban Policy Commission's report, state Kerala government's concern with the increasing issue of urbanization, etc., etc. So it's not at all an information conclave. So let us not look into this from the information perspective and then how the governance. It should be the other way. The more important thing is urbanization and the urban governance, and then how the information or issues connected with industry, etc., fit into this. If that is settled, let us look into what is urban, the urban governance. Urban means urbanization, not the urbanity kind of a concept. The urbanization, what are the contours of urbanization? I'm not going into any of the statistics earlier in the initial session. Primary, I'm not the Chief Minister, so many other people. I'm sure that when Policy Commission's report, at least excerpts of available with you, we all know the total context of or the numbers, statistics about the urbanization, etc. I don't want to go into that. I'm only looking at it entire my discussion, whatever I want to look at, it is only from the perspective of information industry and the media. How to do that. I look at it. Urbanization. The issues to tackle, that is how the media industry to tackle are on all four planes. There is a physical plane, there is a mental plane, there is an intellectual plane, and a spiritual plane. All from the context of planning, implementing spatial issues, design and implementation, of things connected with urbanization. The physical, I'll say the housing, water, transportation, waste management, all those issues are the physical part of the urbanization. Again, as I said, the spatial aspects, planning aspects, designing aspects, how to implement it, etc. And with the media perspective, I'm not an urban planner, so I'm not going into that aspect at all. The issues that media should look at it or information industry should look at it. By mental, I look at the issues connected with the old age or the various kinds of age related, old age, children's issue, the friendliness. Again, as I mentioned, the implementation, planning, etc., the designing, the children related, then differently able related people, and all those, these are all the mental issues, I call it. Intellectual issues are that of higher education, skilling, urbanization, living comforts, all those issues. Spiritual, what we used to call the Adi Devika, things beyond your control, especially the environment, climatic vagaries, the fragile environmental issues of the coastline in the case of Kerala, entire South India. They're very near to sea. People say that 5 cities which will disappear in 100 years from now is going to be, one is New York, and Kochi is also there. God forbid. But so these kinds of things which are beyond their control, kind of a thing. So these are the urbanization issues, as I look at it, I'm not going to the normal. Then comes the governance issues. Of course, increasing urbanization, treatment of issues related to the increasing rural urban migration, urbanization, as I say, and the urban poor, and the cityscape becoming larger and bigger, city becoming expanding, and urban areas becoming smaller. It is very particular in the case of in Kerala, and it is increasingly becoming important or relevant in the case of other states also. Even a densely the so-called highly rural state like Bihar or Jharkhand, etc. There also the cities are slowly expanding in the so-called rural. That issue is there. Then the urban poor. Migration is an extremely important governance issues. Rural, I mean urban poor. How the all the you look at the flyovers, etc. The number of people coming and staying there. Why do they still come there? The issues of that is if that is a negative issue, I look at it positively. The story of urban resilience, the opportunities that these places give, the people who have made it, second generation people who have come from the rural areas, especially in the case of now. I mean, all three of us have been living in Delhi for the last so many years. I've been living in Delhi for the last 30 years. The number of small rural people, I mean, who made it big in the hoteliers, the transport people, the kind of small shopkeepers. So the urbanization, the positive aspect of urbanization, the increasing opportunity, that is what I want to do, and connected with that the creative economy part, etc. So issues that the urban landscape throw up for each one of these categories, and what the media should look at it. I'm not talking of governance issues, of course, is there, and the governance issues connected with that, and what the media should look at it. So that is about the urbanization, the way I look at it, governance issue. And then comes to the role of information industry and the media. I mean, as the topic is information industry, the media. By media, I say that the current media. I'll come to that later. Information industry, the traditional media, as well as both of them represent newspapers, etc. Newspapers have always been treating cities, city landscape, and city topics, urbanization what they call very importantly, very seriously. Or probably, if you ask both of them would have started as city reporters, cub reporters. So there is a very important segment of city reporting as far as the normal traditional media is concerned. Police, I mean, beat correspondents, cub reporters, city reporting. City has always been a major issue, beat, as far as the media is concerned, traditionally. And then the page 2, page 3, page 4 kind of a thing. Media has always allotted a good deal of time to treat issues, and media's intervention had made a lot of issues. I mean, difference also. I'll come to some of the listings later. I only want to touch that point. Then the larger issue is that if that is the information industry, then the media as currently it says, the larger contours of media now what do you mean by media? The lessening of space of the traditional media, and now media has become the digital media. What has made it so important? The handheld device wherein your content and carriage has become one. It is not that our grandfathers, or I can see a large number of, I mean, the generation Alpha and generation Z, the 25-year-old people who would not have been reading newspapers now, who may not be seeing TV now. I mean, most of their media consumption is through this. The reason is that the content and carriage has become one, and it has become very easy to convey news. So there is reason for that. We are not going into a study on what the media, etc. The large number of youngsters are moving onto this stage. So what do you mean by the media's role in urban issues? How does these people, or I including as a TV representative, how do we look at it? So I think these are the four corners, context, etc. Then comes the question: is there a role? Is there a need to redefine the role of the media because of the dwindling space of the traditional media, and the problem with the digital space is concerned? By media, I mentioned three or four. I mean, you'll ask what do you mean by media? What is the information industry? Information industry is the traditional media. I mean, newspapers, TV, etc., etc., and even folk and all. Then there are the digital platforms, very important. Then the data, various data intermediaries and research institutions. These are the four people with whom, then the currently the entertainment industry, that is another major media, like films, the digital gaming, all those issues that they all have. So what is there? So the minute but you still have a feeling that it is a newspapers, and the traditional media's role is getting dwindled. And how is there a need to have a relook into this? Is there still a role for these people to do that? And is there a need for their approach to be different? Has media made any difference? Of course, let me tell you, you know, the media. In the case of city like what do you call it, Kochi, the street lighting issues, accessibility of certain dark spots, the so-called, or making dark spots easier for, more safe for ladies. Bangalore lakes, dark spots, Delhi pollution, or migrant workers during the Corona COVID days. So it's not that media had been sitting idle. Media had never dealt with these issues. It has been there to a great extent everywhere. Then comes a larger issue in the urban governance. Is it the role of, where does the role and the influence of media starts and ends? Is it only a question of media to deal with it, or it is a larger question of our own, each one of us as individuals, and our role as a citizenship, civic sense, literacy, civic literacy? Is it the population our problem? Our cityscapes, be it wherever, all the people say that Bangalore was considered, Mysore used to be the capital city, Bangalore was considered, the Bangalore chief metropolitan architect recently, USA, it was considered for nearly 2 crore people. So that city, now it has far outlived that number of people who are staying there. So even our best of plannings I was recently seeing a small WhatsApp message of Suhail Seth, a great grand man. He was talking about Gurgaon, that you would have seen it. No, it is an urban slum, he is saying. And he said, he made a very, which large number of us, since we don't belong to that category, we may not even like. He says that some of the richest people in India, the richest Indians are living in slum-like conditions. Since we don't believe to that uber rich people, we'll think that they should rather live in a slum. We feel we get a vicarious pleasure, but that's not the issue. When it's the same set of people who could have migrated to any other Western capital, and they could have lived. So it is about whatever facility each one of us or each one of them can enjoy, and being commensurate with the infrastructure facilities. So where is it the role of the government alone, or is our planning process faulty? It is a question of hard infra and soft infra. Now there is a talk about the soft infra to be developed. Soft infra is all about public communication, civic literacy, road sense. We have built roads, but we don't have any road sense. We don't know. Nobody knows about the right of way concept. It is. You all know, I'm sure, that how difficult it is to get a driving license in a Gulf country, and large number of your friends and relatives and people will be there. They don't get, and here, anybody who knows a little bit of driving, they start driving it. So these are the issues which, use it the role of the media alone, or there are larger issues that we need to tackle. I think my job was only to set the context, and I think probably this is from a theoretical perspective, as I mentioned, the constitutional perspective. Exact, the operational issues and the specific instances, probably they'll be able to both my friends would be able to say. And you can also disagree with it, agree with it, or add to it, or subtract things, etc. And I made two other things that I wanted to just mention. Just two other things that I wanted to, what comprise the media I've already mentioned. One is the role of the so-called watchdog role of the media. By media, we all, since it is our topic is information industry, media, and information industry, media, and in urban governance, etc. What is the watch role of media? Watchdog of role of media. there are, that is one issue, which I already mentioned certain cases like the street light issues, or the changes that we have made. That is one issue. It's not that media has not been doing anything. Media has been doing anything. That is one issue. Number two, very important, two other points that I wanted to mention. I thought that I'll do that later. Another issue is that the governance issues and media issues. Yeah, that is where, if at all media is to be faulted on something, that is one issue. Our treatment of especially the problems or disaster, that could be the climate, etc. The disaster, the treatment of disaster, is it becoming slightly sentimental, or is it more policy oriented? Is media also looking at it from the policy perspective? Are they chipping in, giving it, or is it that, okay, you are the media persons, there is nobody from the government side, so it would have been, so government secretary or government. Is it that you say, or okay, three of us say that we have been flagging it issue, but you in the government or the governance people have not taken. So where does the blame lie? Is it with us in sentimentalizing it and not taking it from the policy perspective, or I've been doing it, but you, the government governance people or political leadership or the policy people are not taking it seriously? That is another area of concern that I wanted to. Number three is the ICT issues. All said and done, since it is also intricately connected with the current media scenario, ICT, then ICCC. I'm sure that integrated command and control centers, that larger number of issues, Pune, Surat, Bhubaneswar, smart city concept, they have all made traffic management wherever they have made that kind of a thing. There are also some world examples. Barcelona's open data platform. Singapore has come out with the Smart Nation initiative. Seoul, I'm told, has got an MOT, where everybody can vote on urban related issues. Madrid has got Decide Madrid kind of a concept. So, role of media, IT, information industry in urban governance. That is another area. This is a third area that I would like to. Fourth could be about the capacity issues. After all, does the local level administration, because cities are not managed by the central government. It's not the honorable minister, honorable prime minister, honorable minister for urban development who's managing the city of Kochi, or for that matter, tomorrow Perumbavoor becomes an urbanized city. It is further down. It's a municipality, so it is municipal administration. Questions of capacity, questions of finance, tech savviness, ability to integrate various information and data, and ability to integrate it with the policy decisions, etc. Do we have it? For example, I can see a couple of representatives of the RERA, the building builders. I don't want to name them. There are some builders lobby is very, very, very powerful, very important as far as the construction activities, etc. etc. They're all there. So their requirements, they will definitely have some genuine issues, but how far the technical ICT or the technical issues are incorporating that. These are a couple of three or four other topics that I thought are relevant to our. They may not be. From the media perspective, and yeah, we have some questions to the government. Adila ji, no. I was saying that it is only the media, so there is nobody from the government to answer. So anyway, I already mentioned my initial. So this is, yeah, please sit if you have time. It would be great to have Dila Abdullah. She's a nice officer. She's a space secretary of Kerala, and I'm already through with it. So these are the three or four topics that I thought are of media's role. Disaster prepared. What do you call the treatment of disaster, and the media's role versus the government's role? Or is it that government is saying that, okay, you are not being serious, or we say that government has not been serious? That is true. ICT related issues and capacity issues. These, I think, are the three or four areas that I can think of. Whichever, if there is anything else that or we can straight away take questions from them, whatever. But we'll definitely want to listen to both of you initially for your opening remarks or whatever. Then let us throw it open to the people.
I really don't have any opening remarks. This is a vast area.
But
We can just go
your
on and
experience,
on
yeah,
about
yeah,
this.
that'll be good. Then
I think urban policy, as far as, I mean, we've been covering, like Mr. Sir said, cities. We've been looking at cities quite closely, and I'm sure it's not just us. Everywhere in the country, national newspapers, regional newspapers, they have a very strong city section, where you see the coverage of uh, the problems in the city, any new announcements, if there is some kind of a disaster or a mishap that gets reported. But now, uh, now we see that, I mean, those problems exist, and they've existed for a long time, but I think those problems are becoming more and more acute now, with all the climatic changes we are seeing. So we are also, as newspapers, as journalists, forced to, or rather, and it's an opportunity to learn more about the subject, go deep, take it to the next level, address the systemic issues. So we're trying to do that as well. Many of us have the opportunity, like in my newspaper, they've given us the opportunity to do comparative studies. So it's not just writing about problems in, say, Delhi, Gurgaon, Noida, but what are the things we can, say, learn from Kochi or from Tirunelveli or Bombay or Bangalore. If there are similar problems, how is it that one city is handling it better than the other? So that kind of comparative perspective is also something which is appreciated by the readers. Also, it creates a demand. If some problem has been tackled very well in a certain city, people from the other city would also say, why don't we have this kind of system, or why have we not initiated those kind of reforms? So that is pretty much what we are doing. But having said that, I don't think we're doing enough, because one thing that often comes to me is, or people ask, is why is it that our cities are facing this existential crisis? I mean, it's like one meltdown to the other. Like we have rains and we have storm water drains collapsing, we have urban flooding, and the next season we have heat and urban heat, and cities are not able to cope. And then we have pollution and we have garbage crisis. So why is it that people face these problems, but when it comes to voting, or when it comes to elections, although these things are mentioned in local municipal elections or even state elections in the manifestos, but somehow they don't become a talking point when it comes to voting, or even in the rallies there's something else which takes over. So why is it that, despite being in this crisis of livability, quality of life crisis that we see every day, these issues don't make it to the political agenda, the real political agenda? I don't mean how many points they put in the manifesto. So there, it's a sort of a comment on us, a comment on the political class, also a comment on people who vote. Why is it that we're not all coming together and making it an issue? Because unless this issue is raised and it reaches the political circle and we hold our political class accountable, these things are not going to get resolved. So that is a question I often ask myself, and I'd love to hear your thoughts about it.
Thank you. So the topic here is about urbanization and media role in it. But you know, we are journalists, we both. But I these days represent a state, and I work with the chief minister, which is in the news. That is Himachal Pradesh, and even Supreme Court has gone to an extent and saying that Himachal will be history in coming times. So urbanization is there to blame, because we now have 4 lanes and 6 lanes cutting across the hills and all these things. That's just a coincidence to start with. But as the chairs shared a thing with you about urbanization and about Gurgaon. See, I think many people will know that Delhi itself is known as an NCR region, where we have three satellite towns: Faridabad, Gurgaon, and Noida. When I used to cover urbanization and I used to write on real estate and economic times, so we were told that Gurgaon is a millennium city where infrastructure moved later and people moved first. While Noida or Faridabad, the infrastructure moved first and then the people moved. But still, as he was talking about the potholes, all the media reports about this potholes, everything, but nothing has changed. Same, the prices are 100 crores, 50 crores, 70 crores because builders are having their nixes there and increasing the price overnight. And the prices, if you compare where their development has taken place, say a place like Noida, it doesn't touch even 20% of what Gurgaon is. So we have to look at urbanization and media in a larger perspective because media role itself has changed in last 1 decade. Because first, whether it is local media or whatever, media used to be little bold. Now things have changed. Change have changed because of different aspects. Different aspects. One, social media has taken over. There's no watchdog over social media, so you don't have authenticity about anything which is reported on social media. Second, media has its own compulsions because all the general national media is owned by private people, and they are under some pressure. So that is the thing. So urbanization and media are, I feel, are on the same boat because both are not moving in a direction where it should have been moving. Though even the chair and I can't elaborate more than what I said, but I think all our learned people will understand what I wanted to emphasize. Thank you.
That's it. We can, I mean, whatever manner we want to. I mean, some of the points that we have mentioned, if we need to go into dive a little deep into that, that is possible. Otherwise, if we have any particular queries, we can take on because our at least as far as I'm concerned, my idea has been set in a particular manner. I mean, pattern. I don't want to repeat the whole thing. If there's any question or any other issue, we'll be. I think, yeah, please, please.
I'm audible and same like this.
Yes, yes.
So, my name is Sandeep Chachra. I am the Executive Director for Action Aid. And the location I am coming from, not about the organization, is that I was involved in counting dead bodies 25 years ago in 3 cities, including Delhi, unidentified, unclaimed dead bodies, which formed the basis of then later we filed the case in the Supreme Court, and then of course the entire story of homelessness, and I served as an advisor to the Honorable Supreme Court on the matter of homelessness. This is just to give you the background in my politics. And I think from where we see in the last 25 years, I don't want to go into deep history, and I think you said it, sir. From where I see it, the city is no longer a constitutional city. If I have to use jargon, it is what I would say become a corporate city, and you name any. So there's a trajectory shift, and therefore, with this trajectory shift, the question which has always been there, who does the city belong to, has become more and more and more important. If there were about 3,000 dead bodies in 2002 in Delhi, for instance, today, if I count the number by police records, it's about 5,000 plus, the greater NCR region. The numbers of homeless keep multiplying, and evictions keep happening. I'm not only talking of Delhi. And I think there comes the question of the role of the media. Some people in polite language say, and I'm very glad that this state has a urban planning policy commission, and it has also said that for us, people are the most important. Let's see how it unravels. But what is really happening, there is entire disruption, and therefore the role of the media in this instance, we talked about other countries as well, becomes an anti-hegemonic role. We are in hegemonic city. We can sugarcoat those words with whatever you want to say. Sorry, I'm being just blunt. I'm in the audience, so one has its space, unlike on the panel, perhaps. So it has to be an anti-hedging mantra. So are we questioning? We're talking Himachal, sir. So are we questioning? Supreme Court can say Himachal will disappear, which it did, and then it changed the judgment. By the way, the bench was shifted as well. So we are definitely on those hegemonic cities and globally too, hegemonic times. Look at how the protests in Nepal of the Generation Z has been reported in the Indian media. I mean, I find it a celebration for wrong reasons, but anyway, that's really. I think this whole question of questioning, challenging, serving as an instrument, popular instrument for people becomes very, very important. Struggles go on. I mean, in Delhi alone, protests on the anti-eviction protests, protests on bulldozers raising the homes. This is largely an urban phenomenon for now, thankfully, as have been happening, but then they never get reported. Those barely make it to the news. So I think that aspect to us, when you talk to people's struggles, man, you talk the fact that the why isn't things changing? People need to be conscious. This day and age, what is happening on the ground needs to further mobilize. This is exactly the role of social media in generation, the Z generation sort of protests in Nepal. It wasn't through mainstream media. I think that whole analysis needs to be sharper, and the expectations of from media in this century, when urban transitions are happening at a much more rapid pace, when urban precarities have risen many, many, many fold, when the numbers of people suffering from urban precarities, it's not just climate, by the way, have risen many, many more fold, that becomes a crucial turning point for us. And I would like your views at some stage on how you look at these shifts and what can therefore be a helpful way forward.
No, I quite agree with you. The precarities that you talked about. A lot of times we have this tendency to blame everything on the climate crisis, but it is essentially our systems not working. So three students studying for UPSC exam get drowned in a basement in a coaching center. That was not a climate crisis. Okay, this was the most shocking incident we have seen. Or it's like half a dozen children, newborn kids dying in an illegal, an illegally run neonatal ICU in Delhi. That was not climate crisis. These are serious systemic issues and serious systemic failures, I would say. Uh, but what tends to happen is, I mean, these things happen, and people seem to have a very general view of media, and I would like to change that because a lot of things that you pointed out have been done and have been done in depth. I've been metro editor 18 years into these times. I can count n number of stories we've done. We've really gone out of our way. We did a series of stories, like half page every day for 7 days, on who the homeless people of Delhi are. Okay, they're faceless people. You just see them on the road and they're destitute, but you never think where they came from. Or how is it to be totally possessionless in a city which has a GDP, SDP, or all the wealth that we talk about? Or who are the rickshaw pullers? How do they live? How is it to survive on a wage of 50 rupees in a day? So those are stories. I mean, we have done ourselves. We've seen, we go to, where the slum demolitions happen. We often go. So that, I mean, it's just not paint, media, because media is not homogeneous. Okay. The understanding of media, first you have to understand the space. There's legacy media everywhere, not just, Delhi. You have Malayalam Manorama, you have Matrububi, you have n number of newspapers who've been in existence for 50 years, 100 years. They're doing their job, and I think they're doing a pretty decent job. Okay, and there is a certain level of accountability. And when I say accountability, it's accountability to the readers, because if you're not covering their issues, you will not be sold. I mean, people buy a newspaper which doesn't serve any purpose. Maybe if you're buying it to chop your vegetables and throw the food out, right? But otherwise, if you want to read a newspaper, you will want your issues to be there. So it's. I mean, I shouldn't be using the corporate language. It's a product, and there is a demand, and there has to be a supply. So we have to be aware of that demand. To say that we have that disconnect is wrong. Okay. And while having said that, I also feel that the newspapers have to be more inclusive. They cannot be the voice of a certain class. You have to get it. And you also have to inform the readers about what they don't see or what they tend to ignore. So I think it also depends on what sensibility a journalist has or how they convey that.
See, we have to realize the dynamics of the society has changed. Now it's 100% result oriented, and now people take media also in that batch. Initially, media like what Shivani has done for 18 years, that her job was as good or as bad of Delhi Police Commissioner. She would be getting, or was getting pressure from her owners, from everybody, left, right, and center. But see, don't take that. Reader want either the news should be positive, and they want everything to be seen in black and white. That is not possible because circulations of newspaper are falling like anything. Economic Time used to sell around 12 lakh copies in 11 editions. Now it sells 7.5 lakhs. Same with Hindustan Times. They fight with the circulation just to be in the business, but that is not the case. Slowly, next 3 to 5 years, you will see print going out of fashion. So that is, but we don't have any watchdog on social media. So that's a big this thing to our society as a whole.
I I perfectly understand your position, and I also internally debating on this matter. But let me. After all, I represent less of media, but more of the government also, because by virtue of my being a civil servant, ultimately, currently I'm heading over, so that's a separate issue. I have a slightly different take on this matter. It is only about that homelessness, people, death, etc., etc. With all sensitivity of a human being, I'm just saying it. With all sensitivity of it is one need to understand that we have to understand three segments: individual, society, and the government. Government means nation or the state. Concerns of each cannot be seen. As far as the country or state or the government, let us understand that wealth creation is its primary responsibility. Singapore is being Singapore for the wealth it creates. Dubai is Dubai for the wealth it creates. London or US, everywhere. I'm not saying that that is its only job. Sorry. We can enter into a 3 days long debate. I'm not foolish enough to say that government's job is only government of Kerala, Bombay. So ultimately, India is now becoming important because for a nation state, wealth creation is important. At the other end, individual welfare measure is important. I'm not saying that wealth creation is not important for the human being, but as individually, our individual welfare measure is more important. Society, it is somewhere in between. It is a capacity building. The art, the literature, the education, medicine, sports, everything has flourished as societal interventions. When I say this, these are not tight jacketed. It's not watertight compartments. It's a human being. I make the state, I make the society, she makes the society, all of us make. It's not. But let us understand it. So from that perspective, now, slightly a religious question. Mahabharata Yuddham, we all know, or Rama-Ravana Yuddham. 80 Akshauhini, they say that fought in Mahabharata Yuddham. Tell me, 20 names. They also had life. They also had family. They also had children. They also had. It's only Arjuna's Vyatha when Abhimanyu got killed is written about. Only Lakshmana's, Urmila's story. What I'm saying is that Mrs. Gandhi's cabinet or Nehru's cabinet, 17 years he was Chief Prime Minister of India. Tell me all the ministers' names. Initial, John Mathai, etc., 3, 4 names you would say. Second, third. So this dichotomy is there. I'm only saying that, and I rest my argument on that. I'm not saying that it is she doesn't have sensitivity, government doesn't have sensitivity, government is not concerned about the people dying. If you are born, you will die. Again, I'm not taking a larger perspective point and he doesn't have a right to live or no. Sorry. Any day I'm ready to get out of this pulpit and do a Danda Namaskaram for you and for your larger sensitivity of this, for the great work that you have done for this unclaimed bodies, etc. But role of the institutions are different. That's all. I rest my argument. Thank you very much. Please don't mistake me. Don't question my sensitivity. That's it. Yeah.
My name is Rajiv. I'm from based out of Trishul. I'm a builder basically.
It's it.
So, if my understanding goes right,
As far as the urbanization, speed of urbanization, Kerala stands number 2 after Goa. And I think it is happening right also. The face of the Kerala changing, especially many of the cities are getting improved day by day. I'm from Trishur, the Trishur Corporation Secretary is right over here. They are doing a wonderful job to change the face of Trishur. The roads are getting broadened, the road doors are getting cleared. But that is only 50% of the development. And another 50% lies on all of us, the people who stays there. As Satish was mentioning in his opening note, the civic sense of the people. I think the media has got a lot of things to improve the civic sense of the people. Take the basic things like the driving sense, as he rightly mentioned out, and the littering the things in the road and the carbon footprints. So many basic things. Why don't the media take up at least one by one and take it give a small space in your paper or in the small time in the TV the channels.
Same subscription to Hindustan Times e-paper, you will find all those things.
Uh,
In the metro pages.
But you have to be consistent also. At least you can do it for like the 6 months consistently. Definitely, you are behind the sensational issues, news and other things. But at least provide some space.
I'm not saying
So,
this is across legacy media. You will find articles on
Yes,
this.
that is it. Mr. Menon,
Okay, yes.
Yeah.
You have dedicated reporters for this. Their full-time job is to chase these kind of stories.
yeah, but take at least one issue.
Solution technique.
Yeah. If you take the driving sense, at least for the next 6 months, all the medias, including the print media, the visual media, take the driving sense only and give some good thoughts to the people. I think thereby you can improve the civic sense of the society.
Point is well taken. See, that is precisely what we mentioned about the soft infrastructure. See, have you noticed something? We are all now. I'm not speaking as a government officer, as a citizen of this country. One area where we as a nation failed terribly, and not to be quoted, not to be recorded, is because I'm a community civil servant, I'm still a serving government official, very senior level. One area where we as a country failed is in inculcating sense of citizenship or civic sense, building into the people. One reason could be extreme poverty in the days of independence, 1947 onwards. Later on, the surging population. At the time, our population was not so high. It was only 33 crores or 35 to 33 crores. Then in the last 100 crore we added the last so many years. Then between population control became a bad word. All kinds of things, you know. See, this citizenship, you know, there's a natural growth process in every country. I believe so. I believe so because Britain, the mother of democracy, as I say, Magna Carta 2019, I mean 1026 or something like that. They also had poker boroughs. They also, so the father will sell the constituency to the son. He will write it down. It is a natural progress. I think it is a natural progress in every country's development. Mrs. Gandhi famously stated that development is the best contraceptive. It is a famous statement. Development is the best contraceptive. At the time, she was ridiculed, but slowly it is proving to be right. Now, family's income has become important. I mean, more. We are more. I mean, the death rate of children have come down. Family members have. And now it is not fashionable to say that India's population is a big problem. In 20, 30 years' time, we are going to be in a bad shape. Kerala is a classic example. Classic example where there are only elderly people and young. I don't know how old my young sisters are there. The minute you are 25, you want to get out of the city, the entire state. The national average of youngsters in Kerala is the lowest as far as India is concerned. It's only 27%, whereas the national average is 53%. There are only 7 lakhs dwelling units are going begging in Kerala for occupants. What I'm saying is that this is a natural progression of development. You're talking about the civic sense. There is a time. Where is a guarantee that if you stand in line, in queue, you will get into a bus and you will reach your house in a country like India? That is why all these people are running. They are rushed, breaking, jumping queue. They leave office at 5:30. This lady will never reach home if she is going by bus before 9:30 if she stands in queue. And only 72 people go. She has to jump the queue. So the infra is, then again, it is a role of the government. You will say that, okay, it is a government should go. I speak with, since a bureaucrat and various, what they call, civil service institutions. I ask people like questions. This is again extremely conservative. I'm not holding a brief for the government or something, but we should also understand that I ask my aspiring and young civil service IAS officers, etc. What do you mean by government? Then they will give public administration or political science answers, Lincoln's, Gettysburg Address, etc., etc. But we all forget one thing is what we forget is that government is the sovereign state's intention to make the life easier for the people. All its activities are symbolic in nature. Once you know that, your life will be much easier. I'm not saying that your mind will be much easier. Don't expect the government. This somehow civic sense or this sense of responsibility on the part of the human being, the citizens, the government of the day have not been able to convey to people. Road in Kerala is the sovereign state's symbolic gesture of making your travel possible. It does not mean that the 3.5 crore people of state come out on the road, they all will be able to drive. Somewhere we have to understand it. I think Sandeep ji is grossly disagreeing with me. I can see him. That is fine. Because otherwise there's no point in blaming government for everything. That's my only issue. Why? Let me ask the same question back to you. Why do you need journalists to tell your wife and children that they should not litter? Is it her job? Does she need to? Indian Times of India need to do a 6 months this thing to make your son drive safely on the road? Writer a concept. I think it's a larger issue. It's a larger issue. So that is why it is not that media has not been doing, etc. Ultimately, the value is on all of us. So, one, the numbers, and number two, I look at it, numbers, natural progression, and the number in the sense numbers of people, and number two is the natural progression. Number three, the people's readiness to adjust to things. In the Western world, also they also wait, but there is, I mean, system is in proper place that at least they know that the next bus will come in 3 minutes later or 5 to 6 minutes later. Here we don't have that surety. In the case of metro, it's a classic case. Very few stampede in a metro station. We know that metro is coming exactly at that time, and you reach in that 37th minute. You get it from Alway, 43rd minute, you will be in Pakotra. This we can put, and it then the cost issues and how do you do that, etc. Metro, I think all over starting from 89 Calcutta Metro onwards. I traveled in 1991. I was just talking to my Bengali friend, 91, 92 as part of our Bharat Darshan. We went to the 6 stations, Tollygunge to Esplanade to Tollygunge was the first metro the same. Because there was, I mean, nobody was fitting. I mean, even now, all so if facilities are there, people will do that. But that soft infrastructure we have not built over a period of time. It has not been as part of our education system. It is not media. I think it has been. We like to blame our education system. People
Also,
don't.
when you're reading a story, what do you make of it? My job is not to tell you that when you're riding a scooter, you have to wear a helmet. But I can tell you that maximum number of deaths that happen are people who are not wearing road fatalities, are people who are not wearing helmets. If you can't make sense of that and start wearing a helmet, then there's something seriously wrong with the way you're consuming news or your general idea of what you take from things.
I have a question. You said you are from Trichy. If I'm not, Trichy, if I'm not mistaken, it's the gold city of the country. I've been told that the major people who are having doing business of gold in Trichy are moving to Bangalore, and you say urbanization is happening. Can you tell me why?
It's a very difficult question to be answered, and it is a reality that people are moving from Thrissur to other part of the country, especially as far as the industrial things are concerned. There could be various issues like the cost could be one of the issues, the infrastructure another issue, and the power. Many things which lead people to move from Thrissur to at least Kerala to other states. Again, it is a basic infrastructure issues.
I have a question to some of the younger get from newspaper, apart from the news and getting to know what's happening.
More than from the phone or because I would love to read on hard copies more than
So that is also a little, a newspaper is not just a physical newspaper.
more into like a not through reading the full article or something, but they are more into small bits of that. I think
People want some flashy news these days. That's the problem. Sports news nobody wants.
This whole if you're on the metro or you're, while doing other things, you can go to the website.
So I think the title here is the information media rollout. Second is the kind of people, okay, because they have explained page there. Okay, that's not the point. The point here is information and the role of the media, and I totally agree with the friend sometimes. It's so difficult for a person to walk on the street. I don't think anywhere in Delhi you can walk. Offended. I'm talking about I'm talking about the media as such. Second thing is roads are the media report that. You go to Western world, it's only road signs and the poor afford a car. In those countries, even the rich move in public transport. I've not seen a story that the car industry is influencing the government. Okay, very rarely I see the municipal elections taking place. Okay, there is one little page about city.
Little bit late. That is why some of these issues we have already discussed. Initially also. It is see. It's not that. It's not that. Not that. Using which it should have been there. One can definitely debate. It is the most important. The newspapers. That started. Hindu and Indian Express. Hindu also goes into that kind of a week. Basically, Pioneer, another Delhi newspaper. They have also come on with it, and this car or product, it also you have to look at it as a product, and there are management issues. And no, you have to see the commercialization of the whole aspect.
So see, he raised this point. Hindu is there in the league. Now Hindu is going down because now many kind of advertisements are appearing in the Hindu. So quick, we are not debating here Indian Express and Hindu anyway. Say he raised this question. So I just the point here is the media, the role of the media in urban governance. Okay. My point here is how many stories, the total story that you have is related to the urban governance there in the news. People are not really reading, at least in the national newspaper, about the city news related to the city. Uh, I try to see that. I don't really see that. Okay, I read at least 4 5 newspaper every day. Okay, including Hindustan Times.
you're from Delhi.
Yes, of course, I'm from Delhi. Uh, but these days, your papers are full of advertisements. It's a profit-making kind of a. I mean, I can't blame you. You must be working in that kind of environment. That this is like you're forced to see the advertisement. The first page is full of advertisement.